All right, y'all, we got breaking news, man. As y'all know, it's college football all season and officially. Now, this is per Pete Thamel. He's probably the most plugged-in person that you can have in college athletics right now. Reporter for ESPN has reported that Florida is expected to hire Buster Faulkner as the school's new offensive coordinator. He's obviously been very successful at Georgia and obviously now Georgia Tech with having prolific offenses and it stems from obviously in the state of Georgia. Now, obviously, I've known Buster Faulkner for a while. Obviously, good man, good coach. The move to Florida is interesting, though, because now he's going to join, obviously, Summer All down there in Florida. And he does run a really good offense. But what's going to be interesting to see is, how patient will they be? Now, Florida's going to have the talent. They're going to have the recruits. But, if it's not going well the first couple of games, we've seen Florida pull the trigger pretty early. I feel like at Tech, obviously, he got a pay raise too this past offseason. I feel like he was building something special. Obviously, now with Haynes King leaving, him being the ACC Player of the Year, ACC Offensive Player of the Year, he was building quite the accolades for himself. And then he was going to have a new quarterback at his disposal in Aaron Philo, who's obviously going to be the starter next year. So it's a very interesting move, to say the least. But like with any coordinator, you want to continue to move up, right? You want to continue to get those high-profile jobs. Regardless or not if Florida's been struggling, Florida's a high-profile job. If you could do well there, you could do well anywhere. He's done well at Georgia. He's done well at Georgia Tech. Now, in terms of what it means for Tech, it's going to be interesting to see what Coach Key does, right? He went in the offseason, got Blake Gideon. We've seen the defense be able to play at a decent level this year. Was it a high level? Probably not, but we've seen this defense carry games, throughout the season, right? Where did they struggle? It was a defensive, a run defense, I should say. Now, in terms of offensive coordinator, I'm not really sure where Coach Key's going to go because, Coach Key just got his extension all the way to 2030, 5-year extension for him. Obviously, big news for him, but it's going to be interesting to see because he's going to have to hit on offensive coordinator, right? You can't have, consecutive seasons where, it's shaky. Like, you got to hit on this guy. Now, I like Blake Gideon. It was the first year. I think he'll be better in year 2 with all this talent at his disposal and what Georgia Tech has done with recruiting, but he has to hit on this next offensive coordinator. Now, where should he go? I'm not too sure. So we'll see what Georgia Tech obviously does there at offensive coordinator. Probably will know something within the next couple of weeks or something, maybe right thereafter, because you're not going to want to start getting prepared for next season. But candidates that maybe you could see prolific offense this season, maybe Texas Tech, but I doubt that their coordinator obviously leaves. You could also look at Vanderbilt, but again, don't know if their offensive coordinator is going to leave. Only reason I say them is because they run a similar system. But obviously, it'll look a little bit different now with obviously Philo as the quarterback. So, real interesting move for Georgia Tech and obviously the offensive coordinator, Buster Faulkner. And now they're kind of in a tough spot because, like I said, Buster Faulkner is one of the more respected offensive coordinators. I think he was rated in the top 10 according to On3 in the in-season poll, I believe it was, in terms of top offensive coordinators. So, that's going to be something to continue to watch moving forward. Who they're going to use, how will this offense look? It's probably going to look drastically different because Faulkner was known for using a lot of screens and motions and different things, but in a simpler manner that not everybody can kind of, pick up on. So the next offensive coordinator, you're going to have to be dynamic. You got the weapons, but now you're going to have to be dynamic and be able to not to get a beat on what you're doing. So it's going to be interesting to see what they get.